What is going on, fight fans? We have another Saturday night, another fight night edition between UFC and boxing. I'm not going to be making any separate videos for this because, in my opinion, it doesn't need it. I'm just going to conjoin them too. I'm going to be talking about the UFC fight night that happened in Denver, and I'm also going to be talking about the Jerron Boots Ennis fight that happened as well on Saturday night, but that'll pertain to happen to later in the video. And the first fight that I'm going to be obviously talking about, I'm not going to be talking about every single fight. I'm just going to be talking about the fights that were the most interesting to me, and obviously had the most effect on the card, in my opinion. Obviously, in the first fight in the picture, we're going to be talking about Charles Johnson and Joshua Van. Banger of a fight between these two guys that really were on the stand up. Charles Johnson really dictated the pace and really threw a whole bunch of shots to Joshua Van, who either just aided or was, being defensively sound and was blocking most of the shots. But a lot of kicks, a lot of teep kicks. A lot of shots and a lot of stand switching between them both. And then towards the second round, I thought Joshua Van was starting to really turn things on his way. And Charles Johnson still had his moments here and there, but he wasn't having as much success as he was having in the first round. And in the third round, I mean, like a bat out of fucking hell, dude. Charles Johnson just went crazy at Joshua Van, landed a nasty, super nasty uppercut, and just took him out of there. Landed, I believe, another right hand as well that just put him out, and that was just pretty much it for the night for Joshua Van. And Charles Johnson gets an impressive knockout win against a very good, in my opinion, a very good stand-up fighter, or fighter in general, and Joshua Van, who was a very good prospect. And moving on to the next fight, that was interesting to me was the Juliana Rosa versus Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez has taken out a lot of good prospects. Raul Rosas, Cameron Simon, and I believe he got another decision recently against another fighter as well. So he has a couple of good names on his record, and he goes into this fight with Juliana Rosa. And Juliana Rosa come off a pretty good, decent victory that he had against somebody. I forgot his name. I don't remember. But I know he had a pretty decent victory over the last guy that he just fought. These guys both started off pretty much on the stand-up, and it was pretty much even though I kind of think Juliana Rosa had more of an advantage on the stand-up. Very surprising, in my opinion, for these two fighters. And then, for some reason, towards the end of the last round, Christian Rodriguez pretty much goes to the ground with Juliana Rosa, or decides to go with him. And something told me that wouldn't it be funny if something were to happen towards the end of this round for Juliana Rosa to just pull off a win, and jumps to Gilly, it gets to Gilly on Christian Rodriguez, forces the tap, and that was pretty much all she wrote. On to the next fight with Ange Lusa versus Gabriel Bomfim, who came off his first career loss against Nicholas Dalby, looking to get some type of redemption in his next fight against another unranked fighter who came off a pretty weak and terrible of excuse of a no contest against Brian Battle, but to each his own. I mean, at least the fight wasn't as dumb or low IQ as Christian Rodriguez was. Gabriel Bonfim just kept it pretty much on the feet, and if it went to the ground, he pretty much was comfortably winning this fight. And he pretty much took it a lot more slower, had a lot more patience than what he usually had, and when he usually really wanted to do instead of just going there and take somebody's head off. Um, he looked like he was pretty much just outclassing Lusa on the feet. Lusa pretty much just looks like a big, built, stocky dude, just ready to just throw punches and rock him, sock him. And if he lands a knockout, he lands a knockout. It is what it is. But he's not as technical. He's not as well manufacturally built for any type of stand up. And Bonfim just looked comfortable, took his chances, took his spots when he took them, and he pretty much won the fight pretty much easily. The next fight that was really interesting was John Silva versus Drew Dober, and what a brawl this was, man. I mean, these dudes in moments and in spurts were swanging and banging, meat on meat. Love to see it. And this is John Silva coming off a fight that he had 2 weeks ago, just recently on, I believe, UFC 303, if I remember correctly, coming off that knockout win for Charles Jourdain. And dude, this is just impressive, just to be able to come off just 2 weeks to come off a fight and a knockout win like that, to just come right back and just dominate another dude in another weight division. I mean, Gene Silva could potentially be that dude. Yes, it was pretty much even, I believe, around the first round, but then towards the end of the first round, into the second, and starting in the third, Gene Silva just started to dominate. It started to be his fight. He started to make it his fight and what he wanted to do. And he opened up that nasty cut with I believe it was a left hook, but then he just started throwing these elbows. He throw a nasty, if it wasn't a spinning back fist elbow or a spinning back elbow, he threw something at the end of the second round that just rocked Drew Dober and damn near knocked him out. And luckily, Drew Dober got saved by the bell. He came in for the third round, and then the cut just got opened up even more than what it already was. And it just, I had no complaints, honestly, for the stoppage. I mean, that was nasty. But these two guys are warriors. I really want to see more out of Gene Silva. I don't know if 145 is his weight division. He did miss weight at 145, and he looked pretty fucking clean at 155. So to me, it kind of doesn't matter what weight division he pretty much goes to, but he definitely does need a ranking in one. He definitely needs to get a step up in competition, whether it be at 145 or 155. And again, just impressive showing by him. And into the main event, we have Rose Namajunas going against Tracy Cortez, and it was pretty predictable. Pretty predictable fight to be able to go in there and see how you believe it thought it was going to be. Rose Namajunas just dominated on the feet. Her footwork, her head movement, her counter punching was on point. Um, Able to mix in some of the grapplings towards the end of the rounds when Tracy Cortez was starting to get a little bit more aggressive on the feet and wanted to start to take more chances. Tracy Cortez has a real problem with leaving her head straight up and not tucking her chin down, and she ate a lot. She ate a lot of shots. I gotta give her a lot of credit because she does have a chin on her. Absolutely, you can't go in there and say that the amount of punishment that she took on her is not as devastating as a lot of other people have taken punishment, but she did take a lot of shots and she did eat them well. Um, Again, Rosa Namajunas mixing in the grappling to really just stymie Tracy to get her a little bit tired and you know thread her out there because you got that championship experience. Of course, you're going to use that and lean on that in your advantage. But on the stand up, it was just pretty much even. Got that knockdown in the first round. I thought it was pretty much it. Knocking off that fake eyelash. It is what it is. Tracy's still cute, but she got knocked down and fought the fight without an eyelash. Um, but anyways, towards the fifth round, I believe that was the most competitive round that they had. Tracy Cortez started to really press on and push on the gas, really tried to make it more of a fight. She started to land a lot of good shots, even though she was still getting countered. Regardless, she was getting countered the entire time in the entire fight. I think it's good experience for her, especially for her to move up and fight more capable fighters in that division if she wants to be able to contend and fight for a championship. And Rose just goes up more into the division. Obviously, it's backloaded. They're gonna have Grasso probably fight Valentin Shevchenko again, and then of course she has to wait in line to a fighter that she already lost to in Manuel Fiorot. So she's probably gonna be backed up. They're probably gonna have her fight another fight, probably against some top contender, probably like Aaron Blanchfield or something like that. But Rose looked really good. She got the win. She got what she needed to do, and that's pretty much the talk that I have for UFC. And now we go into boxing for Jaron Boots Hennitz going against David Avician. Excuse me if I said your name incorrectly, but I don't really care about you because you're not that great of a fighter. Boots Ennis gets this guy, David, out in 5. Gets that nasty knockdown, breaks his jaw, and makes him sit in the corner for the 6th round, and he does not get up from his chair. He pretty much was a no mas moment, and understandably so. If you break your jaw, bro, I understand if you don't want to continue on fighting. But Boots Ennis was not as impressive as you wanted him to be. Had a lot of openings. His defense had a lot of openings. He was getting countered with a lot of shots. He was getting hit with a lot of shots that he goes up against another caliber of fighter against him. They're going to be able to take advantage of those opportunities and really rock his world. And understandably so, sometimes you want to test your chin and want to test your heart and want to see if you're really able and capable to, continue on fighting when you take those type of shots. But when it's unnecessary like that, especially with that level of fighter, it's unnecessary. You're just taking unnecessary shots to the head. You got the job done. You got a knockout before Terrence Crawford did in his fight against this dude, and you know, impressive enough. You got the job done. You did what you needed to do. You got another fight. You got another name on your record, on your resume. Obviously, you got to start hunting and going for bigger names. Obviously, in your division in 147. Obviously, you can be able to fight fighters, that you called out, like Terrence Crawford, who's going to be moving up to 154, and his fight that's going to be coming up in August 8th against Madrimov. You have Errol Spence, who's moving up to 154, and he's looking to fight against Fundura and get a championship in that division. So the fighters that you want to be able to fight are moving out of your weight division, and they're looking to be able to get championships in other divisions, and they're not going to be looking to come back down to your weight class anymore. I still think that Jaron Boots Ennis is a tremendous talent, has a lot of skill, and obviously is very young. But you have to start putting more names in on your record, man. You have to be able to be a lot more impressive than what you've shown in this fight. Again, I mean, we're slandering a knockout right now that he was able to stop a dude in a corner and not want to be able to fight anymore. I know that's a lot to say, but you put yourself in high regards and you have high expectations for yourself in your career, and you're gonna want to be able to have impressive showings or more impressive showings than what you just had in this fight right now against another fighter that the likes of Terrence Crawford that he fought, and he made him look a lot easier, even though he got a knockout more later in his fight that he had. But uh, fight mathematics and fight algebra doesn't always win like that. It styles make the fights and how they go. But obviously having those defensive leakings in your guard and in your ways of you working, it's not gonna work. I mean, again, it's good to call out a big name and a big pound for pound fighter, one of the best fighters, obviously in boxing right now, Terrence Crawford, and it'll show a lot, and I'll think it'll still be a great fight regardless. But Terrence Crawford is just on another level, and being considered pound for pound one of the best fighters, of course you're gonna be on another level against a guy who obviously is young and talented and skilled, but there's not much you can really do for that, because obviously boxing is entertainment and it's money, and you got to make money regardless any way that you got to make it. But good knockout for him. Got the job done. Did what he needed to do. I want to see more. I want to see more bigger names for Jaron Boots Ennis. I want to see him be able to knock down and knock out more capable and more known fighters, to be able to put his name and reach out there a lot more than what he has as of right now. But thank you, fight fans, for watching this video and watching along for what I had to say for these fighters in these fights. Like if you like, obviously, you know what I mean. Comment any opinions that you have on whether it be the UFC or this boxing card or fight that we had. Obviously, if you have any other cards, like the Devin Farmer fight that had also occurred on Saturday, and as well as the Chocolatito fight that happened on Friday. If you have any opinions, any discourse you want to be able to talk about, leave any free. You do what you got to do. And subscribe also as well if you like this type of content. You're waiting every Saturday or every Sunday morning to be able to listen to these type of recaps and reactions that I have set for you guys. And thank you and peace.